But anyway, one day I was with some interns, yeah, and we came in very, very late, and a snowstorm came, and it was terrible. And we didn't really have a ride, and so it was a 45-minute trip,
Yeah.
to get back to the house, and I was so grateful for. And we kept trying the Uber app, and it was nobody came, and then finally, yes, we did get an Uber driver, but it was very interesting because on the way back to the house in the middle of this terrible snowstorm, and I was imagining that we were going to have to spend the night there on benches. But he told us that he was sitting with his wife in a warm house watching Netflix, and he got the first request and went, "Meh." Got second request and went, "Who needs it?" Third request came in. He thought, there's some people in trouble.
Yeah.
I need to take care of them. And drove 20 minutes through the snow, a harrowing trip to pick us up, and took us to the house, 45 minutes away. And what did he earn for that? $8 or something. I gave him a gigantic tip as a result. But I reflected on that. It's like, this combination of technology, charity, human affection, commerce, all coming together to save us from what would have been real trauma. No state was involved. No politicians made that possible. It's just this beautiful magic of the marketplace. It's not magic. It's love. It's love. Many levels of love. Super deep, international, global commerce made that moment possible.
And it's hard to imagine a scenario where coercion would have gotten that guy to leave his warm home and his wife in order to help a stranger.
Yeah, that's right.
And it gets back to that sort of anonymous sense of connection that commerce seems to create.
It was, I'm so glad you asked about this, because I think about that man right now, and the only way I could really thank him was by giving him a big tip. But if he were here right now, I would give him a big hug. He made a huge difference in my life.
Yeah.
And that night, I was so grateful for him. And the next day, we just forget about things like that. But I didn't want to forget about it, which is why I wrote it up. Those are important moments in life.
Yeah.
Very important.
So why don't libertarians tell more stories like this? We tend to come off and I'm heavily influenced by Ayn Rand and her sense of individuality. But her characters did tremendous sacrifices to save society, to save their unknown neighbors. They really wanted to make sure that
Rand's characters, you mean?
To make through.
Oh yeah.
Tremendous sacrifice, particularly in Atlas Shrugged.
Well, sure, but even in Fountainhead,
and she would be angry at me if I said that.
And she herself made tremendous sacrifices actually to serve humanity. So I don't know about this whole anti-altruism thing that she has going. I mean, it's fine, but it doesn't show up in her books actually.
Yeah,
these people serve each other, and they serve principle with courage. But you asked the question about libertarianism. I've made this analogy, and since we keep returning to this musical theme, I think what happens to people from the pro-commerce, pro-market, free market point of view is that we learn the principles, and we learn the axioms, and we learn the theory, and it's hard for us to get beyond that for some reason. We never actually apply it. It would be like going to a piano competition and having people get up to the Steinway, and everybody plays arpeggios and scales, not actual music.
Yeah,
and that's how we do. We just sit around, but we can't stop talking about our arpeggios and our scales. But the point of learning your scales and your arpeggios is to play music finally, to leave the page, to leave the theory. My trombone teacher used to say this. He said, "Learn all your scales, learn all your arpeggios, learn everything you need to know, and then forget it all and play music." Part of me thinks that that's what we need to do. We need to forget it all.
Yeah.
And just explain what the beauty and the majesty and the magic and the love of human liberty.